we being destroyed from within. What do I mean by that? Go check out the CIA Corporate Sabotage Handbook. It's a book, a little handbook written in like the 50s or the 60s or something like that, maybe the 40s. And it's what the CIA used to do to other countries when they wanted to overthrow the government. The first thing you do is collapse the economy, and then they won't have any money to fund military, and the people are being distressed. Same thing happening to the U.S. So maybe 10, 15 years ago, there was some Internet Act where they took control of the internet and pretty much wiped it clean of all kind of stuff, YouTube videos. They had algorithms that dictate what you're being shown. The internet used to be real free. It's not free anymore. It's manipulative, and it shows you what it wants you to see versus being the World Wide Web is what it used to be called. And speaking of that, that was the World Wide Web was invented at CERN, which is a whole nother animal that I won't go into right now. But we being destroyed from within. And you can see with our politicians and our officials, where it used to be moral men, or at least they pretended to have some type of morality, would be in front of us. And now immoral men, that have cases against them and all kind of stuff going on. It's like, you used to have you be squeaky clean to be a politician, and now they be heavily flawed because the morality is gone out of our country because we being destroyed from within. Lord Jesus tell us that, before you spoil the strong man's house, first you must bind him. Then you can spoil his house. Because if he had the ready, he gonna do you something. And I was a part of one of the greatest fighting forces this world has ever seen. And I was looking at some corporate stuff in China, and I'm like, wait, they doing Marine Corps training in their corporations. That's like they calling out and stuff like that. And I'm like, what is they doing? And everybody was covering in the line. And this is like CEOs or something in the company. And they were covering a line and everybody had attention at the formation. And this, a corporation, mind you, not the military. And so I believe they took, some of the old school training that we had and started to implement it within their people. And you got to understand that if you ain't never heard of the Opium Wars, you need to go look that up, of how the British went over there and doped the Chinese people up and, took over. And they feel mad disrespected and played over that. And they want some retaliation for what went down. And they teach their people what happened. So, I had the privilege of, interacting with some Chinese foreign nationals that I went to school with in the engineering program. And I remember them, they was perplexed at how we interacted with the professors. They were like, man, we'd never do that in China, man. Everybody quiet, and paying attention. Because I used to be one of them students that if I went to class to learn. I wouldn't be there if I wasn't trying to learn. So I had to, man, y'all quiet down up in here. The man said that you don't have to be here. He ain't taking attendance. So if you don't want to be here, just get out. Don't be up in here, disrupting the class. Um, but yeah, so I got the privilege of interacting and studying with these guys for a few years, and they were younger than me, so it was a different dynamic. But I got to get a sense of that culture over there. It's a strong culture, and the disrespect that we had showed them. You think back to cheap Chinese goods, and oh, it come from China, this, that, and the other. That's disrespectful. And when you come from the street, Street dudes don't like to be disrespected in any kind of way. And the dude that run that country, that's a street dude. Putin, that's a street dude. And I say that to say violence is universal. You know, you see it in lions, dogs. I remember a dog that I had that he would mind me and do what I tell him to do unless we was in public. If we was in public, he wanted to show off and act like he had to listen, that he was the alpha dog and all that. And so that's a universal thing throughout the animal kingdom. And this scripture yesterday from Ecclesiastes, you know, God had made manifest that man would know we nothing but beasts. And you know, like, how do you know that the soul of the man go upward, and the soul of the beast go downward, right? You don't know that. You don't know what came. You don't truly know what came before you or what came after you. You just heard or read about it, and so what is to come after you. And so when you go back to what I started off with, the CIA corporate sabotage handbook, how you know the bureaucracy and the stupidity within the companies, like they would say, like, make sure that a man had to do 6 or 7 times more than what was needed to get this thing passed. Make sure you promote the most ridiculous people to kill the spirit of everybody else. These are the things that had been going on within our situation. I remember being at work, like, yo, what is up with this lean manufacturing, Six Sigma stuff? Like, why would we only have just enough, just in time system? You know what I'm saying? Like, just enough to make it through the day, and then the next day we ain't got what we need. Why wouldn't we have what we need so that in the event of a part shortage, we straight? And you know, I'd be going against the CEOs, the VPs. Like, don't ask me to do that. I don't care about the green belt, the black belt, or none of that stuff. And I got one of my partners, he used to love it. I'm like, man, you know, I don't like that stuff. And you know, I was a part of like one of the initial phases of that stuff coming to the U.S. We was 5S and stuff in Iraq, and I'm like, man, what we had the 5S where we put our rifle, 5S where we put, you know, our flak jacket and a little label. It's absolutely ridiculous. But you know, salt, shine. I don't even remember that what the acronym mean, because I never played into it. I never had interest in it. And you know, being in that corporate world, that's what people expect. That's what people gravitate toward. And I just always was moving backwards and going against the grain, saying that we shouldn't be doing this. We should have a warehouse. We should be doing this. And, you know, as we move forward, you have to understand that these people are telling you what they about to do. And you got to believe somebody when they showing you what they willing to do and they telling you what they gonna do, and then you saying no, they're not gonna do this. I remember my wife years ago when I'd be telling her, look, we're going to war with these people. Oh no, we not. No, this will never happen. If this happens, it's gonna be the end. I'm like, it's inevitable. You know, when the internet was free, they had something called the axis of evil, and they would say Russia, Iran, and China would get together. This is like 2000s, maybe the late 2000s, the early 10s, like 10, 11, 12, 13 or something like that. And people would think I was just off, a lunatic. Man, it ain't gonna never happen. We ain't gonna never beef with China. But then the economic warfare started. And the next phase, we got the covert operations, right? But now they got overt operations, and it's gonna be like literally banging coming soon, and them dudes preparing for that. And so, you know, you need to prepare for what's coming, because people in this country ain't never seen war like people in other countries. You know, that because of us and our policies that we brought war all over the world, and then these people think that war will never come here. When you got the whole world, they why wouldn't they want that to be, right? Like if you was from Iraq, Afghanistan, Ukraine, Russia, anywhere, them African countries, the Horn of Africa, any one of these countries, why wouldn't the people want destruction to come here, right? Because they've known that for so many years. And, it's been a blessing that we protected by that great ocean. But, it's going back to one of my songs that I used to jam to. You could be touched. Everybody could be touched, especially when you're complacent and you're not paying attention and you ain't thinking about your history. And then who is gonna be here, moving forward when these guys, they not about that life no more. And everybody is more for convenience and more for what someone else can do versus getting out there and doing it, and having calluses on your hand, and not lifting weights for show, but lifting weights to be able to do something. Little dudes don't fight no more. And grow up, that was normal business for let's throw these hands. And that's not a thing no more. Even in the scripture, it say, look, don't, even your brother smite you on the right cheek, turn the left to him, because that's what was going on. Somebody was getting smited, and that's not the energy no more. And especially, my generation was a generation kind of with the great equalizer that everybody wants to start toting a gun. Well, man, I'm trying to do it with my bare hands, straight up. But everybody want to use a gun. And I think that energy of wanting to use your bare hand, it'll triculate to you being able to use weapons. Because if you ain't got no weapons, you still got to do something. And so our men don't want to be men no more. And then we want to send our women to fight for us. And I don't feel like, like I said, we beast, you know what I'm saying? And although they got all these hormones and pills that women can take to get that testosterone up, and, maybe with the men eating and drinking, their testosterone is dead low. I feel like a lot of our guys got low T. Like, God tell us, we gotta, control our eyes, the lust of a woman. But I don't even know if these little dudes want women no more. They fooling around with their phone and in the bathroom with their hand, and then they, do they have that edge, because we got pheromones. You're supposed to be able to smell and stuff like that. That's the animal within you that you got to control and push down, and use that sexual transmutation to put that energy elsewhere versus going out fornicating, doing that. But that energy is still there. You need it. You got to have it. And so we being destroyed from within because our protectors, if we relying on women to protect men, I feel like I can't agree with that. I've seen some of these women that I used to think that, shoot, it'll take a big one to, like to deal with me. But, and these women, and they shredded, they straight, Angela Bassett, Tina Turner type stuff. She was swole, back then. But now that was like a unicorn to see something like that, and it becoming, a little bit more commonplace. So, the time is at hand, because at this point, as all the economy start to crumble and people, doing without, the next phase is boots on the ground, shots fired. So just pay attention, be wise as the serpent. There ain't no animal out there that survive not paying attention. You got to be on your P's and Q's. You are an animal, if you don't know. And there's predators out there. You got predators that come from within your country and predators that are outside your country. And so be vigilant, beloved, because we being destroyed from within.